This episode is brought to you by Maestro Sausage, the only sausage we use at Hot Tongue. They produce sausages specifically with pizzerias in mind, and you can tell. So if your sausage isn't hitting all the right notes, let Maestro lead the way. Ladies and gentlemen, guess who's back? Back again. Alex is back. Tell a friend. All right. Yes, I'm bringing you a pie to pie sitting here at Hot Tongue Pizza. And you know what? I am going to introduce you to two people that I actually talk about on this pod a lot. Michael and Andrew, the two managers from Hot Tongue. And I think this podcast is about different perspectives. And we have been sharing different perspectives from influencers to other podcasters to, maybe people outside of the pizza realm. Like when we talked to Ben from Beehive. I don't want it to ever feel like we're confined to one thing because there's many perspectives that make this industry, the hospitality industry, and the world go round. And I thought it was important to have this conversation. And this is a conversation that I think maybe most owners or founders should be having with the members of their team. And we basically just talk about their journey and what making pizza and working at Hot Tongue is like. Getting their perspective on things is always enlightening to me. And we talk about what makes their job easier, what makes their job harder. We talk a whole lot about customers, which is probably the hardest part, right next to, managing a staff, being friends with staff, and where they're at and where they want to go. There's a lot of gold in there because these are people that maybe don't want to get into a shop of their own or be the pizza entrepreneur of the year. They have a lot of knowledge and it's coming from a different place, which I think is important because sometimes when you're an owner or you're running your own show, other people's perspectives can be lost. And it's important to sit down and know exactly what's going on in your restaurant and give your team the tools that they need to succeed and get the feedback that they need to succeed. Or give them the advice that they need to hear, or just basically open communication. We talk about systems, processes, and communication. We talk about sarcasm, which is something all three of us, you can tell in the interview, all struggle with. Are we the funniest people that you know? Possibly, but is it the right way to run your business? Probably not. I have learned with these people for 10 plus years. We have worked together across 3 different restaurants, and these are 2 people that I would love to grow with for the rest of my life. If there was an opportunity for us to work with each other for the rest of our lives, I hope that it's there. We talk about trust, something that you really have to have, whether it be your management team or anyone on the team, and how important that is to creating an environment where everyone is trusted and respecting their time and respecting your time, and how that all comes together. I wouldn't be able to even have this podcast if it wasn't for these 2 individuals, these 2 people that I really do trust, I do respect, and have been able to do their jobs maybe better than I could do. Andrew is definitely better at hiring than I am, and we talk about that. And, Michael's customer service is probably like beyond anything I've ever seen. They are what make this place so special. I say at the end that, it's been incredible working for you, and it feels that way. And they're just 2 people that I love dearly, and I'm so stoked to share this podcast with you. I know there's a lot in it. I hope that it inspires other people to sit down and have conversations with their team members and to say thank you and to be appreciative, because there is no one person that does everything. People ask me all the time, how do you do this? And it's because of a team. It's because of these people. And obviously it's because of process and policy and communication, but it's because these people care. I hope you all enjoy John Williams and, of course, the Shins, Michael's favorite band. Andrew is basically a Jedi. The Empire Strikes Back every day here. The Hungry Jedi. And listen, I'm sorry for whatever music is playing when both of them are in here, because it definitely gets weird. John Williams or the Willy Wonka soundtrack, but that's what it's about. It's about having fun. So without further ado, the talking heads of hot tongue pizza, Oompa Loompa Doobity Doo. MailWise Solutions takes advertising to the next level. They design, print, and direct mail, menus, flyers, and postcards for pizzerias all across the United States. I've worked with MailWise before. I tried to design my own menu, and Kevin said, hey, give me a stab at this, and holy shit. When he sent me back the menu, I was like, I thought I was okay at what I did, and his design team blew me away. There's no mailing contracts, so you're free to advertise on your own schedule. Click the link in the show notes or request a sample pack at mailwisesolutions.com. Let's get you some new customers today. How long have both of you been working in pizza?
10 years off and on now.
Probably 13 to 14.
And why have both of you stayed in this industry as long as you have?
I didn't go to college, and I eventually got good at it.
Wow, this is gonna be a short podcast. What has been the hardest part about being in management?
It's dealing with employees that you were friends with, at least for me, in my experience, dealing with employees that you were friends with before you started working with them, and separating the workplace friendship aspect of it, and to walk the line of that. It's probably been my biggest struggle in being a manager. And then also becoming friends with a lot of the employees here, just handling egos and personalities and stuff of that nature has been difficult for me, but good growing experience for sure.
How do you successfully walk that line?
I listen more instead of just like hearing it and not really listening to it. So if people have suggestions, I try and heed those suggestions. And then if you ever have any input for me, I feel like I've gotten a lot better at listening to it. And that's helped me grow as a manager. I definitely still have a lot of character defects I have to work on in that department, but I feel like it's slowly heading in the right direction. And it's been cool for me to be present for it and kind of witness it happen. So I'm proud of myself. Thank you.
You're doing great.
For me, it's actually letting other people do the work and not trying to take it all on. So I feel like that's kind of how I ended up in this position anyways, because I could do anything. But then once you're like in charge of people, just because you can do everything doesn't mean you should be. You need to let other people do the work so you can focus on probably more important things.
Why is it so hard to delegate?
Mostly because I feel I could do everything faster, but sometimes that's not always best because there's things I can do better that I should focus on that other people can take their time on, smaller tasks.
I agree. It's hard to let go of control. So like we've been doing this for a long time. We know how to do it without like maybe looking at recipes and stuff, even though we should because you change them sometimes. But that's another cool thing to see other people succeed in places where you wouldn't normally hand over control and be like, oh shit, I don't have to do that. Like you can handle that. I'm gonna go take care of something that only I can do or Andrew can do or you can do, whatever it may be. Still struggle with that too, you know, because you want everything to come out the way that you put it out. You want everyone to kind of copy that, but no pizza comes out the same. Other people are just as capable of putting out really good product. So
Delegation is one of the hardest things about leading a team. So, and I can say I think it's a thing that you both struggle with. Do you like struggling?
I mean, we're in the food industry, so
Yes.
something
The
there.
short answer is yes.
yeah, it's easy to put yourself in that position because we've been doing it for so long and you don't know what the other side of that looks like. So yeah, delegating is like not an easy thing to do, even though it's basically just telling someone to stay there or go there or you're here, don't move unless I ask you to. And it's like very simple just to lay out, but difficult to actually practice.
Yeah, or just like simply asking for help.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's in the back and you're like, I don't need help. But you're
should be fine.
you're just rolling around in the weeds. Do you think that that's like a pride thing to not be able to ask for help in those situations?
100%. Yeah.
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 A little bit, and then sometimes I feel like it's a slippery slope. Like at a certain point, everything looks fine to you, but it only takes like one small misstep. You burn a pie, and then everything's set back, and then you should have asked for help like moments ago when everything was fine, but it'd be nice to have an extra hand.
Yeah.
It's kind of asking for it before you really need it.
Yeah, well, that's called not being prepared. And you can only be prepared when it's just like one person trying to run the show. I don't know. I just feel like throughout my years in the restaurant industry and having to deal with getting comfortable with asking for help myself, it seems like everybody always wants to be a hero. Or just like you think you have it until all of a sudden you don't. And it is that like fine line of like, it just takes one pizza to come in or one interaction with a customer and like you fuck yourself. But for what? Pride? Ego?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of it all.
Yeah, definitely.
What has becoming a leader taught you about yourself?
That I think I'm capable of more than I give myself credit for. I think before I became a shift leader at Purgatory, I was like that was just like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't do that. Because I set a ceiling for myself. When we came here and I became a manager, it was just like more responsibility was put on my plate. And I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to try it. I think I can do it. And then it became like, I can do it. What else can I do? So I don't like put a ceiling on everything in my life. So it goes beyond the shop. It's been like a good growing experience for me in and outside of the restaurant.
I've just never really thought of myself as a people person, but in order to do this job, you kind of have to be. So you got to deal with your employees, customers, pretty much everyone, and definitely had my issues with communication, under communication. So it's kind of just been learning how to do that better and actually teaching people, because I feel like I learn from just watching, so I don't really need a teacher all the time, but you kind of have to teach your employees, let everyone grow. And it's been learning how to do that. That's kind of been big for me.
And I guess understanding how to communicate with certain people and how to teach different people. Like everyone doesn't learn the same. And everyone doesn't take those same experiences the same as you guys do. I asked the question, like, how long you've been in this industry and why have you stayed in it so long? You guys have both been in here for a very long time, and you both gave answers that basically like, I don't know, I'm just kind of here still doing it. But I think it's worth noting that the answers you both just gave there's a lot of value in the restaurant industry in taking a leadership role. That like if you guys were to go to a different career tomorrow, I think that you could take a lot of these lessons that are pretty powerful to that, whatever that is,
Definitely.
What do you think the best way to teach the team is?
Everyone's different. That's another aspect I'm trying to get better at, because kind of like you said, everyone takes constructive criticism differently or whatever it may be. But I like to try and, again, I'm getting better at, but just like encouragement and like having fun with people. Sometimes it's like hard to teach. I get frustrated when it's busy and I'm trying to teach someone how to do something because I got like 3 other things I got to do. And I have to like stop getting so frustrated when I have shit on my plate and I'm like, hey, let's bring that crust out a little bit more or whatever it may be. And I just kind of like a light switch goes off.
I purchased a Gosney Arc XL recently, and the bake has been so consistent. The bottom heat of the oven and the actual arc just cooks the crust to a caramelized perfection. There is no other oven, in my opinion, out right now that is going to give you these same results. Whether you are in need of a new oven for your pop-up or your dad's asking you, what is the best oven to make some homemade pizzas? Use our affiliate link down in the show notes. Smash the link. It helps the podcast. And more importantly, it helps you.
While working at a restaurant can be extremely difficult and frustrating, it's also fun. And we get to work with our friends and And I think the teaching process should reflect that as well. And so if like your employees see you having fun, they're going to take that with them and try a little harder and also have fun doing it. And all of that just reflects onto them and then onto the shop and then what people come in here and see.
Definitely got to all be kind of positive reinforcement. Like once you bring negativity, it gets in their head, then you're like, you have a bias against them maybe because you think they can't do something. And I feel like people can definitely feel that even if you don't speak it. And so it's kind of just always encouraging people as much as you can. And even like when you're communicating mistakes, like don't put them down about it. Just try to explain how what they're doing wrong causes something down the line to be wrong. And especially like making pizza, making dough, there's like so many steps beforehand that influence the final product. Giving them explanations for what's happening rather than just saying, don't do that.
Yeah, the why.
Yeah.
Here's how, and this is why. Do you think that you have always trained that way?
Definitely been a learning curve just from all my jobs because I've somehow managed to work my way up into this position at several restaurants and food trucks. And it's always been a learning curve each time. Like I go up and then slump back down and go back up, but like each hump is higher.
Yeah. How do we keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on in the team's head here at Hot Tongue?
Monthly touch bases when we remember to do them. Sometimes that gets away from us, but just checking in with our employees every month. I forget to do the monthly ones. Like it passes by, but even just during the week, just checking in with people, seeing how they're doing, seeing if they need anything. I feel like pretty much all the employees feel comfortable to come to me if they have any issues or want to learn something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of keeping that support system open to people and letting them feel comfortable to talk to you.
Yeah. And just like, never using sarcasm as a weapon. We don't do that here, right?
Never.
Of course
That's crazy. No.
How toxic do you think sarcasm is?
It can get to a point where it's not great and it inhibits communication for sure. Because you have like a small staff like here and everyone's like friendly and you start everyone starts using the same line of sarcasm or the same jokes, and then that becomes normal dialogue and like language within the shop. And so then when something serious comes up and you have to address it, you may have to say it a few times to get the point across, so then it's like, I got to cut down on this a little bit more, which is so hard because like it's almost like the same thing as if there's a lot of shit here for us to do, especially as a manager. There's almost no downtime. There's always something to be done. And you want to keep on a schedule. You don't really want setbacks. And that's kind of like the same thing. Whereas like, we do use sarcasm a lot. We could probably cut down on it a lot. But I also don't think it all needs to go away because we've created a fun culture at the shop. So there's like, again, a fine line that needs to be walked there. And we step over it sometimes because when we do need to communicate something serious, we may have to say it 2 or 3 times to get the point home.
Yeah.
Where like, this is like a real thing. And you're like, all right, we got to pump the brakes a little bit on this one just so like this doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
a very delicate balance. Like especially like as that line just kind of slowly gets pushed forward, like it might have started where everyone was comfortable in that spot, but like eventually that line will get pushed back beyond someone's level of comfortability.
Yeah, and I guess like when do you know that you've crossed that line, and then knowing or finding out that it's too late, because obviously you're having fun 90% of the time, but in that 10%, a lot of like really bad negativity can happen.
It's definitely why it's good for us to check in with everyone, make sure they're willing to check in with us.
Because kitchen culture has changed a lot just in the 15 years I've been cooking. And I know that like even, 7 years ago when we were at Purgatory, like that kitchen was was much different, and it was kind of toxic. Or at Tomato Pie when we worked together, like,
That was a time.
yeah. I think it's gotten better. I think it's great here, but I mean, I guess it's tough when to hold them, when to fold them.
I feel like this is definitely one of the closest knit teams I've worked with. I mean, it helps that we're like nine people,
Yeah.
but even when we've added 5 people outside of our original crew, and everyone's kind of melded in fine, and they've all grown. That's why I hired them, because I thought they could. And so
He
far,
had to drop
everyone
that
is-
because, yes, he did put the whole team together. That's why I hired him. That's why I brought us together. Yeah, and I think like the main thing is respect. I think everyone here is respected, and I think that is really important. I say it myself that we have to respect people's time. I try to respect your guys' time. I know you guys are on salary and you fucking work like 10 to 12-hour days. But on your days off, or like on our team's days off, like we try to respect their time. I know you're really good at giving people time off. I think that's the best thing about working at a pizza job is if you're in a band or you're an actor, you're creative, you like to vacation, whatever it is, you have kids, you have the ability to have a flexible schedule. And I think respecting people and respecting people's time, I would say is a very important thing. Something that we do here. What's it like working at Hot Tongue?
fun, I'd say 90% of the time. And then there's like 10% where you're just getting phone calls.
We hate the phone calls.
They're just so bad.
They're terrible. People ask terrible questions. It is very fun. I actually like think about this a lot. I try and like think about things I'm grateful for, and like me and Andrew work a lot, and I try and put myself in any other job in the world where I'm working this much and be like, I'd fucking quit. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty
Well,
much.
I mean, you've known me for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
my work ethic has gotten better for sure. But like,
Yeah.
Do I want to work at like an office job or a McDonald's for fucking that many hours in the day? No. I'm like comfortable here. I like everyone I work with, which goes back to like what we were talking about, and like a good culture here. And those things just don't like come around. So I'm like very grateful that I wound up here. So yeah, I mean, what Andrew said. Stop asking stupid questions when
Oh
you
my
call.
God.
It's crazy.
Well, we just signed up for Ovation, which is not a sponsor of the podcast, but we haven't used them yet, but they are going to take care of our phone calls, which we are very excited about. It's going to answer our phone calls. It basically will be like that recording thing that you wanted to do, where it's like press 1 for the hours and to order online, press 2 if you have a complaint, press 3 for like whatever else, for FAQs, and it'll send them a link for frequently asked questions right to their phone. And then and we'll still keep our same number because they have to give us an 877 number that will be directed to our number. So people will still, if they have it in their phone, will be able to call us. And then it has an interface where you can answer all reviews from one interface. And then they have, anytime somebody orders from us, they get sent a survey. How do you guys feel about the reels here?
Oh, they're super entertaining as long as you don't have to be in them too much.
Oh my God.
It was a necessity before we got Trent and Frank, that I was in the bulk of the reels.
I miss you as a main guy.
And
dude.
I'll come back if the price is right. But now we have Trent and Frank, and they're transplant actors, and they have the enthusiasm and the drive and the will and
the skills.
I just want to push out squares and take a shower and go watch the X-Files, and watch them on the reels. It's fun for me. Like I like watching them. They're better at it. You know what I'm saying?
That's debatable.
I'm the idea man.
Yeah, you do have a lot of ideas. I would say though that I think what really happened is You saw yourself in the Green Man suit.
That stomach was not sick, dude.
Like the Green Man
was
suit.
like-
Rachel May had said something, and then you said, "I don't want to be in reels
It was
anymore."
a self-realization that I was like, I got a Planet Fitness membership.
Dude,
Started
that suit is
intermittent
good
fasting.
for no one. Everyone
No.
looks terrible in it.
Yeah, it was bad.
What tools have helped you succeed in your management journey?
Honestly, all the checklists you've put together, you've taught me more about it than anything. But yeah, the checklists are like the biggest thing. It's like having checklists for employees, having checklists for ourselves, just being able to see what's expected from everyone, from what you expect from me, what I should expect from other people, what they should expect to do. I feel like any restaurant that doesn't have them is doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I agree. I think for me, it's just failure and then being addressed about that and how to course correct. This is a fucking curveball from you, but this is good leadership on your part to like pull us aside when we fuck up and be like, what could you have done differently? Like, look at the situation. I need you to go remedy this by doing this. I'm not gonna like tell you to do it, but I recommend this. And then, because like the checklists, like Andrew said, they're great because they keep a level of accountability for not just us, but employees too. But also in terms of like leadership, like management, it's failure and then being accountable for that by you. And not you never like tell me to do something. You're like, you should think about doing this. And it's everyone's like I'm different than Andrew. I take criticism, at least before, very poorly, firsthand.
Yeah.
But you figured out like how to approach me. And I think I've gotten better at taking criticism because the way that you address me about certain issues that I need to get better at has helped me grow into a better leader here.
Yeah, letting us mess up is probably the best thing you've done for us. 'Cause I mean, how else are we going to learn unless we fuck it up a little
Yeah.
or a lot?
Yeah.
Sign up for Cisco for 5 years.
Oh man, Cintas, dude.
Cintas.
Yeah, well, I feel like I kind of got lucky because when I was at Purgatory, there was no one really around to tell me that I was fucking up. So like, and when I fucked up, like I just kind of like had myself to be pissed at, And so, and then even when I was like managing there, when somebody would fuck up, like you both were in the management chats, like I would like come in at 6 o'clock and like just start fucking sending pictures and being like super mad and like, who fucking cleaned the fryer this way? You know what I mean? If your sausage needs aren't hitting all the right notes, then let Maestro lead the way. Maestro has been working closely with pizzerias for decades. They produce sausages designed specifically with pizzerias in mind. And you can tell, their Italian sausage crumbles look like they were handmade in your shop, and they will taste that way as well. With over 80 years in business, family owned and operated, the family is incredible, and so is their product. It's quality sausage with quality ingredients. Click the link in the show notes. A classical masterpiece awaits you. Back to the show. I feel like too, like management and being a leader is really treating people like you would want to be treated. And if I were to treat you guys like shit or not allow you to fuck up, then no one here would be allowed to fuck up either. Because it's like a trickle down effect.
Yeah, well, I mean, from that purgatory time where you were talking about up until now, I feel like you've learned a lot too.
Yeah.
In terms of how to handle. I mean, because we were I was friends with you before we started working together, so I try and take like how you handle me inside here and outside here, which is like very impressive because the way that you talk to me when I do fuck up, it's not like we can still be friends, but you're having like a conversation with me as your employee.
Yeah.
And that's that, right?
Yeah.
And like, let's move on type of situation. And that doesn't affect our relationship outside of work.
Yeah.
Which is something like I strive to get better at because it's like not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, that line gets blurred too.
Mm-hmm.
And then like having that professional conversation where it's like, okay, this is me as your boss talking, and then this is me blacked out on Glendale 6 hours later. I mean, you guys don't really. We don't really party with the team at all.
No.
Yeah.
I will never hang out with any of them.
I mean, I would just say that it's like probably worth noting that like if you have a management team that's partying with your staff, it's not. I don't think it ever works out.
Well,
Dark.
it used to happen, and it was only problems.
Yeah, if you want to talk, we could talk about that. I mean, me personally, it took me a really long time to figure out like I should not be. These lines should not be crossed. I mean, I was hanging out with people when I was an owner. I like to think that I was a young owner or not founder, but yeah. But you really set the bar low when you.
But that's the culture we built there, and that reflected like the work that was being done. So like when you were coming in taking pictures, it was like, well, that's because everyone was fucking out drinking till 3 a.m. and they came in hungover, and no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
And you think you can get away with it because you kind of could to a degree. And again, it's like a learning experience because we came into this shop with a clean sheet, and we're like, all right, things are going to be a little different. Also, other things changed, but it was like, I think ultimately, like you have to fail a lot to figure it out. And you're never going to figure it out. It's always progress.
Yeah.
But like, that was just a bag of problems. And so like, why would we carry that over into Hot Town?
Yeah.
It's just all a slippery slope. You're like outside relationships, and then you're here. You end up being like a real family. You're just hanging out all the time, and it gets ugly, or it can get ugly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially like when you're mixing management and employees. Not that I don't like them or don't want to hang out with them, but you gotta draw a line somewhere.
What are some things that past bosses that you've had have done terribly?
I've worked at a pizza place that wasn't here or purgatory where I felt like the boss was condescending to me. And it's pretty much the only job I've ever worked where I didn't end up getting some sort of promotion or working my way up. And I felt like that was an interesting part of the culture there. I was not a fan of it. They were kind of just treated me as if I was stupid.
I worked at an ice cream shop. It was my first job. And I was working there for like 4 months, and I didn't get a paycheck. And then the owner just literally left, and I didn't get paid at all, which it is what it is.
Yeah.
I was in high school, so my dad wound up just writing me a check for whatever.
That's nice.
Whatever I worked. But other than that, I've had really good bosses. So I'm just such a likable guy. It's hard to,
Well, I'm going to answer my own question. I would say that having a boss that treated people like different people, like obviously treated people differently. So like, and he did it very publicly. And I thought that was fucked up because it's like everyone, I mean, it's not
like showy favoritism.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't need to be communism, but like you can't just like make fun of somebody, like one person all the time, or like crack the same joke, or like kind of just, I don't know. It's like it kind of goes back to probably this person having a belief cycle about a lot of people and then just treating them like shit. But like, I think that like that was really hard to see certain people get treated in a way that was like very disrespectful, and other people were like praised. I think that was one thing I saw, and I said, I will never be that guy.
It weakens your whole team when you do that. So
Yeah. I mean, it makes people feel like shit. Like the last thing somebody should feel like is shit at their job. Like you're already coming to a place that hopefully you want to come to, right? But like the job is providing means for somebody to like fucking pay rent and eat food because that's the society that we live in. Fuck capitalism, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, to make that harder on anybody with life being as hard as it already is fucked. You know what I mean? And then it's bizarre that some people stay in situations that are toxic, probably because it's comfortable. But I would never want to be that place. I would never want this place to be a place that people dreaded coming to. And I don't think it is.
No.
If you could change one thing about Hot Tongue today, what would it be? And don't say the phones.
Fuck. I've never thought about that. I don't have time to think about it. I'm always working.
No dine-in, dude. Just takeout delivery.
Are we talking about like big picture stuff here or just like anything?
It could be anything. It could be big picture. It could be little picture. You could say like you want.
No more half and halves.
Ooh.
And half and halves are dumb. Just get 2 pizzas.
So hard.
There's a bunch of little like picky nits that I.
Nick Pitties, Picky Nits,
Picky
Nicky
Nits.
Picks.
So
Yeah, half and halves are kind of a pain in the ass. It's just like making 2 pizzas at once and then it fucking gets messed up. Then you got to fucking do it again. Not as bad now that we changed our dough, but
Yeah, half and half suck. Maybe we'll look into that.
we're gonna look into that.
weird people's build your owns.
She
Just-
definitely.
Yeah, we should limit like the
definitely
amount of
get rid of that.
toppings.
Well, there's supposed to be a limit on toast where you can only do 4, but
Yeah, there's a notes section.
the notes section. Well,
Fucking notes section.
I just think it's so disappointing when somebody like makes a pizza and you're just like that. Like that is not it. Like,
Yeah, it comes out. When I see the ticket, I'm like, that's not gonna be good.
yeah.
That's not gonna be good.
How do you guys maintain a fluid culture here?
A heavy dose of sarcasm. There's got to be a little bit of fun. I've always said this. I like to have fun. I like to tell people when they're doing a good job. I like to ask people, like, especially because during the day it's one of us working here, but on like the weekends we're pretty fully staffed. So it's like, what do you guys want to listen to? There's no like corporate playlist here.
Hawaiian shirt Sundays.
Hawaiian shirt Sundays. I don't know. For me, it's just like if I'm gonna be here this long, and you're coming here and working with me, like let's have a good time, while also making sure everything's coming out right.
Yeah.
But like, I just want to have fucking fun.
Yeah.
I think that like we've separated ourselves from other restaurants. You can include like the Instagram as a part of that package. Is like, we're fun time. We have perfect product and we have like fun staff. And so like, I like to fuck around with customers too, Some of them, the ones that are like, that we have like a rapport together, like we have like fun banter and what have you.
And I mean, it spreads out to everyone because the customers can definitely feel that we're having a good time. I mean, they can see us obviously, but
Yeah.
it's just a positive energy kind of going around for however hippie you want to sound. But everyone can feel the vibes. And like customers come in and like, even if we're busy, like they're kind of understanding and they get it. It's a beautiful shop. Music's fun. People are having fun. We're just making tons of pizzas.
Yeah, it's hard not to tell too because we have such a fucking open kitchen.
Yeah.
So they see everything that's going on,
It would be a way different restaurant if we were just all back there like tents.
which is what our previous restaurant kind of used to be too. So a lot of that toxic sarcasm and stuff that was happening back there was like behind the open restaurant front of house. So this is all house and everyone sees what's happening. So
What is a good boss to you?
Someone who kind of lets go and lets you mess up, and then tells you what you did wrong and how to get better. But like if you're not allowed to mess up, I don't feel like you can get better. Like if your boss just steps in and does the work for you, you're not going to grow. And if you don't grow, you can't help other people grow. It stagnates the restaurant and your crew. So it's definitely being allowed the freedom to mess up. Not that you're going to mess up all the time, but
Do you think you could let the staff mess up a little bit more?
oh, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
That's a for sure.
I agree with Andrew. I think that for like if we're talking specifically like our situation and you have to find a very good balance, which you have of like being hands-on and hands-off at the same time. And you know, you're not like you're in the shop working some days, but you also come in to do other stuff and communicate to us you changed the recipe or like can you do this, can you do that, whatever it may be. But you're also not here all the time like breathing down our necks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of this comes back to like being a good boss. And I guess like you have just like us two as managers, but you figured out like what we're good and what we're not good at. And you've become like very good at like communicating in a way that helps us like see what we're doing well and continue doing that and what we're not doing well and trying to fix that. And you've gotten like a lot better at that. So any bosses that are listening, do what Alex does.
All right, Venmo coming in. What is your favorite part of this job?
I love opening the shop. It's always been fun for me. Or opening any restaurant I've worked at.
No
It's always-
customers.
No customers. It's quiet in here. It's dark in the mornings. It's just you prepping. That's when it's almost all just about food, and I like to cook.
I like having a sense of purpose for being in food service for so long and just kind of having a cook position. Or my first pizza job was a driver at Fresh Brothers, and like working my way up to a leadership role has been quite the journey. And for me, it's like a very big deal. So I feel accomplished in that. But I too also like opening. I just get to listen to music or podcasts and prep stuff. I don't necessarily like to cook. So like the weekend nights I actually do like because we're fully staffed and I kind of get to watch everyone when I am like being a good manager, letting people do their jobs and trusting in them. And I get to just kind of like, when we're busy, I get to see the restaurant flourish and like, this is your restaurant, but like me and Andrew were part of it and helping it grow. So it's like, we get to see our stepchild start to get older, you know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. So it's like a sense of pride there too, that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great to see the crew get better at everything they do. Like, I think everyone here has, especially this year, has stepped up their game a bit, and it's nice to see.
Well, I imagine that's nice to see because that's a reflection of like what you're doing.
Doing right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When your crew is growing and progressing and the vibes are right, it means that you guys have been doing your job right.
Great
And
success.
you've been succeeding.
Sometimes, yeah.
What's your least favorite part of the job? Did I already ask this? The phone?
No. Oh, wait, did you?
Oh, one thing
Oh,
I would
yeah.
change. What's your least about like being management? What's your least?
I think it's just disrespectful customers that have probably never worked in a hospitality or food service job in their life. And I've said this to you before, but whoever invented the customer is always right is a fucking piece of shit, because that we just enabled customers to come in here and act like an asshole to our staff or us when we're like, whatever the scenario may be, if we're like busy or not busy, they can come in and just be a fucking asshole, and they get a free pizza or whatever they get, and they get to walk away, and they feel like they can do that at any time. And I just like, I wish most people that come in here are super nice, and like we get a lot of repeat customers that I do love, but some folks are just they come in here and they have they know that they're going to start shit. And they want to start shit. And I wish that mentality would change a little bit, because that dampens the mood for sure, and definitely makes me fucking angry. Which I got to get better at that too. But you know,
It's difficult. They're just a pain in the ass.
they're a pain in the ass.
It's mostly because there's no way you're gonna change their mind that they're right. So it's finding that line where they're satisfied, where they go away and we're not assholes.
Yeah, I wonder who's like the original person who said the customer is always right.
We'll get Matt to fact check that.
It's probably a customer.
But I think that is changing a little bit. I mean, I'm definitely at a place in my career, and I've said this before, where it's like, I just don't give a fuck about you anymore. Like, if you're going to be an asshole, like, later, there's tons of other restaurants. And, especially working here where we're catering to so many different diets and so many specialty things, like, we're getting the cream of the crop of people, if you know what I'm saying.
It's rough, yeah.
But to come in here and disrespect somebody because they think that we're some kind of fucking public servant, which we kind of are, but and we serve people and this is hospitality, but to be disrespected in any way, you don't. And then to have a boss too, I've seen that kind of just doesn't take the team member's side and will fucking side with the customer that's acting like an asshole. I've seen this multiple times. I mean, I don't know what that says to. What does that say to the staff? What does that say to the employee? Well,
they're like, all right, then fuck it. I'm not even going to try anymore. Or and then probably they harbor resentment for the owner or the, whoever's siding with the shitty customer. And then it's that person doesn't want to keep working at the restaurant or wherever it may be. I feel like it's a trickle down effect. I mean, that's how I would feel in my experience if I was a counter person and had to deal with, God bless Jordan on the weekends, but
yeah, I mean, I got to tell the story. I got a pizza thrown at me at a job, just straight. This guy came in and he was so fucking pissed that he threw his pizza at me, and I didn't know what to do. I was shaking, and I went and got the owner, and the owner calmed him down, and within 5 minutes they were all joking around and shit. But it's
I'd be like, that's crazy.
What the fuck is that? This dude just pretty much assaulted one of your managers, and you're chumming it up with him. And I get it. I was actually at the time impressed that he could turn this guy around, but at the same time,
you're enabling that person to walk into another restaurant and do the same fucking thing. I told you this. My little brother Noah just got a job at Chipotle, and this dad came in with his 2 kids, and he asked for white rice. They were out because they were busy. They only had brown, and he was like, we only have brown rice, and the guy fucking spit in his face. And so the manager pulled him aside, calmed him down, and then talked to the guy. And then they had to throw everything away because it was a health hazard.
Yeah.
And he called me, and when he was telling me on the phone, I was like, I fucking hate that guy. I was just so many feelings were coming up. Because that guy probably has done that 100 times before, and he's going to do it again.
I guess that dude should have been arrested.
We need to do a liquor store thing where we have a picture of someone who does that and put it up and this fucking asshole can't come into the shop again.
Yeah. I guess it's a little scary these days because and for restaurants where your margins can be slim and the word of mouth is something that you rely on. So everyone's very afraid of pissing off the wrong person. But I think what you're saying is right. It's enabling people to treat somebody if your pizza's burnt and it's late, yeah, that's definitely on us. But if we say I'm sorry and then we offer to give it to you for free and you're still yelling at us, what more do you really want? You know what I mean?
They wanted an argument.
What do you want?
They just want to belittle someone.
Yeah,
or feel above them.
The human's emotions. I mean, people struggle very hard, controlling their emotions. It's just weird to take it out on strangers or a restaurant. I guess though that saying is just an enabling mechanism, and I think today we draw the line in the sand.
We're changing it,
and we're fucking changing it.
The customer is never right.
It is not always right.
Sorry, it's not always right. Yeah.
What's it been like through this change? I know restaurants change a lot, and that can be hard. I've been a boss that changes things quite a bit, and that can get annoying. I know that I've gotten better, but probably still struggle with it. I try to openly communicate about changes so everyone knows what's going on. I think we've gotten better at that, so you guys don't have to read my mind. But you guys also have gone through the same stuff that I went through, but adding meat, adding cheese, like these were big changes. Has that been tough for you guys?
I feel like when we added cheese, that was the rougher one, just with customers and overall. But once that was done, it's simple. We've done it all before.
Yeah,
it's
I don't think it was a
doing
big deal because we're not, at least from like dietary standpoints, like we're not vegan.
Yeah.
We eat, well, he eats everything. I'm not like touching octopus or anything like that. But like from like an ethical standpoint, like we don't give a shit. Like we want this business to thrive. And like you said, before we added any of that stuff, like we're excluding 90% of the food eating demographic in Los Angeles, or any, like people come here, they see us on Instagram or whatever, and they come here from San Diego, or I mean, we've had people come in here from like other countries.
Egypt.
Yeah, that want to eat here, and you're limiting them. They're never, like you said, they're never going to come in here if we're like, this is an all vegan shop. I'm not going to try it. So I think it was like a very smart move to add dairy and meat. And yeah, when we added just dairy, it was a fucking pretty big deal. And the comment section was wild.
Was that tough on you guys? Because I know that, like, I know it's a lot to bear. You're working at a vegan restaurant and then you're leading the team. And I tried to be here as much, but like, was that extra stress? Like, and this can equate to like other owners and managers, like maybe making tough decisions and kind of like putting that pressure on their management staff. Like, was that tough, or did you guys have anxiety? Or
I was looking forward to it, honestly.
I felt like it would be worse customer wise, but it was like very few in-person customers that did or said anything.
It was all online.
And anyone who came in and said they'd never come back has been back.
Yeah, and people who talk shit online still come in.
or come in and ask for jobs?
Yeah, that ain't happening, guy.
What advice would you give to people in pizza who are thinking about getting into a management position?
Learn to over communicate everything, make checklists. Yeah, I don't know. Checklists, I feel like, is a major thing. I've worked at other restaurants that have no checklists, and they do not run smoothly. They work, but they could work better. Some people refuse to do them, and I don't really understand it. I feel like it's a very strong tool.
Very.
A visual tool. Everyone has eyes that works in the kitchen, so it works.
Some people use their eyes.
I hope so.
I would say learn to listen, communicate, and let go.
Nice.
Those are like the three things, again, in my experience, that I am always working on. And prepare for long days. Saddle up the Palomino.
Saddle up. What is your favorite pizza in Los Angeles?
The Neon Moon from Lucky Nick's that I had on Saturday.
Solid.
Just a phenomenal barbecue pizza.
I tend to not go to other pizza shops on my days off. I did visit Ozzy's. That was really good. But Round Table's my favorite pizza.
It's fire.
I just like shitty run-of-the-mill chain pizza.
Hell
Except Little Caesars, that's just garbage.
But you do like Papa John's.
Papa John's is fire.
Yeah.
I like sweet sauce a lot. And they
Can't
got
go
sweet
wrong with
sauce.
Costco.
Costco's fire, yeah.
Yeah. What are you most proud of in your journey through this pizza world?
The people I've hired here.
Yeah, it's a solid
I
ass team.
feel a solid 95% of them. A+. Everyone that's here, 100%.
Yeah, I think the two people I hired actually were the worst hires.
100%.
Yeah.
Stay hands off in that department. Yeah, I don't know. Personal growth, really, for me, to see that I could do things that I once thought I could never do, has opened a lot of doors for me. And like personally, that's just exciting and cuts back on a lot of limitations I set for myself. Never thought I'd be in a leadership role. Look at me now.
Look at me now.
Well, take a look at me now.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Well, I talk about you guys a lot on the podcast. I think that I wouldn't even be able to have a podcast if it wasn't for both of you. people ask me all the time, like, how are you doing this? Or how are you not in your shop all the time? And my answer is usually pretty much the same. Is I do say stuff like, you know, you got to have processes, you got to have policy, you got to have checklists. But I also think that you got to find people that you trust. And I feel like you said a lot of nice things about me, and I'm not going to deny them because I think that I have worked very hard on establishing trust and respect with both of you. But I don't know if I could necessarily. Well, actually, I think that like I've done this with other people, but it does make it's not easy to put 100% of your trust into somebody. I think some people like really struggle with that. I mean, I think you guys trust me, and I think that that's why this works. And I think that there is a very solid line of respect that if you need something, you know, I'm here, and the other way around, just to create this relationship between us, to see like how this has gone, like, you know, in 2 years, you have been here for the growth. You called it your stepchild. And, you know, I hope to continue to grow with both of you in whatever aspect that is. And I know that if either one of you left tomorrow, that we have both grown together and that we would take a lot away from that relationship. But I don't know, maybe I should just wrap it up and just say thank you, because you have allowed me to do this podcast. This is a huge fucking undertaking. Me and Matt spend a lot of time on this. And you have to listen to some of the episodes in the back, mostly Hiller. And I don't know. I think that you are two of the best people that I have ever worked for, or I could say worked for and worked with, because it feels like I work for you sometimes. And you do a lot of the shaping and the culture, and it's easy for me to step back. And I hope you feel the same.
I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Likewise.
Do you guys have an end goal of where you would like to see your food career?
I think at some point it'd be nice to have a bakery, because I like baking a little more than cooking, and I've gotten pretty good at it. Not making things really attractive, but I can make something really delicious. So I'd like to do a bakery, maybe, that does like dinner service maybe once or twice a week. Something weird.
Something real weird.
Something a little weird.
Do you really want that?
Yeah.
Would you want to do it in Los Angeles?
I don't know about that. Like, I've lived here almost my whole life, but it's just every restaurant I've worked in, it's been tough for them to be here. Just from permitting to just, everything is difficult. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's, especially opening up a new shop, it seems almost impossible now unless you manage to sneak into an old shop.
Yeah. That's the trick.
Like I said before, I don't cook when I go home. Cooking is not something I enjoy doing. Like, I don't like creating recipes. I don't like baking. I don't like cooking. I just want security and sense of purpose and some free time to watch movies and read and write music, and that's it. I just want to be happy.
Yeah.
And so right now I've found a very good balance of that. So why change it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've tried not to future trip too much, because then I forget about like what's going on now. And so obviously you can continue growth there, but I'm not gonna run a Fortune 500 company or anything like that. I'm good. You know, I wish rent were a little cheaper here, but you know, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it's worth mentioning that if you're just listening to this podcast, both these dudes are in American flag overalls, short overalls with an eagle on the pocket. Just style icons here at,
We like to have fun.
at Hot Tongue Pizza.
And we love our country.
We love our country, rock, flag, and eagle.
We got a couple Patriots working here, if anyone wonders, and let's just say it's we're living in two different Americas, and we're living in the real one. You know what I'm saying?
Right. R.I.P. Toby Keith.
That's
Oh,
right.
man.
Rest in peace, Toby. All right, final question. Who is the greatest artist or band of all time to you guys?
John Williams.
Solid.
James Mercer of the Shins. Always.
Nice. Two very great answers. Two answers we've never heard before.
And you'll never hear again.
Who's your favorite band? Oh, the guy who did the Star Wars theme song?
All right, where do we go to check you guys out?
Here.
I'm here every day.
Always. Here.
Come on in, eat our pizzas.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for
Be nice, don't call.
Thanks for doing this in the middle of your shift, and thanks for coming in on your day off, Andrew.
Happy to be here.
Maud Hadid.
Later. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much.